Good evening, welcome to the latest live edition of Last Bell Boxing, joined by regulars now. Daz, good evening, Daz.
Good evening, pal.
Joined by Sean. Good evening, Sean.
Evening, guys.
I thought he froze them for a minute. And lastly, Ander. Good evening, Ander.
As always, pal, it's a welcome.
So we're going to jump straight into it. We've got quite a bit to get through tonight, so quite a few announcements this week in the world of boxing. The first one, Canelo versus John Ryder, 6th of May, Mayo de Cinco in Mexico. So let's have a conversation about this fight. I think it only goes one way personally, but Sean, we'll come to you first. What's your thoughts on this one, Sean?
I have to be honest. I'm pleased for John Ryder. Really, I mean, he's put all those years in the sport, and he deserves his payday. And yeah, it's a good fight for him. I think I think he'll lose, but I think it's a good way for him to probably bow out, and he'll be set up for life hopefully. So good on him.
And can we expect an upset here, or is he just being fed to Canelo with a good payday?
No, I just want to echo what Sean said. I think it's great that John Ryder's getting this fight for his legacy and his payday. I actually think it gives Canelo a tough fight. Not that it'll be close, but it'll be tough because Ryder's tough. Does Canelo stop him? Yeah, there's a good chance of that, but there's also a good chance that Ryder could take him to points because he's a real tough fighter, he's a tough character, isn't he?
Would say, if he performs anything like he did against Daniel Jacobs, he's in trouble, though, isn't it?
Well, we'll see what he's got left, mate. I mean, he might rise to the occasion because it's likely to be his last massive fight, isn't it?
Yeah. Daz, give us your breakdown from a coaching perspective. What would you be telling? What would you be telling John Ryder going into this fight?
I don't see.
Keep your gloves up.
I, to be honest, mate, I think he's, I think it's going to go a little bit like the Liam Smith v Canelo. I think he's going to have his moments. He's going to land his shots, but I think he'll get broken down to body. I think it'll be a body shot that stops him 8, 9, 10, maybe. But I think he'll have his moments. I like John Ryder. I think John Ryder's, I mean, what can he do? What sort of game plan can he do? Can he outbox Canelo on back foot? No. Can he, I mean, is there an argument for, listen, tighten your defense a little bit and just try and outfight him? Can he do that? What's his best option?
He's got to drag him late, and he's got to drag him late.
Can he do that? Can he drag him? Can he drag Canelo and make Canelo question himself? Does he want to be in? But it's bred into him, innit? He's up against it. He really is up against it. But I think he'll, just like Liam Smith against Canelo, I think he'll give a very good account of himself, and I think he'll have some success. But I think he'll just get broken down gradually to body.
He's the one thing that Ryder's not really got going for him is he's not a tall super middleweight. So that advantage that Callum Smith had a little bit, his height and his reach, Ryder's not got that.
No, he's not really a mover like Billy Joe either.
I was about to say that. He's a come forward fighter.
Does he get better with the better the opponent now? Because obviously I'm thinking about John Ryder when he fought Callum Smith. Very good performance.
Are you on about, does Canelo get better?
No, does Ryder get better with his better opponent? If you look at his performance against Jacob.
Well, if he does get better, the better the opponent, he's going to be phenomenal this fight because he's in with a very, very, very good fighter.
And like I say, he's going to need to be into.
Yeah, without a doubt. He's, I mean, thing is as well, let's say he takes it distance and has success, and is he going to get a decision in Mexico?
No.
Do you know what I mean? Does he hit hard enough to stop Canelo? I don't think he does. He's up against it, mate. And I do really think he's going to acquit himself very well. I really do.
Let's give it some atmosphere.
Oh, yeah, just a bit.
So, moving on then. I'm a bit sick about talking about this guy, but, you get headlines coming out week after week. So, Conor Benn looks like he's going to Eddie Hearn saying Manny Pacquiao or Kell Brook. Obviously, Kell Brook's been giving it some other.
Hold on, Cole. 1 second. 1 second, mate. We've got a superstar in the sidebar.
Here we got.
Rolf Harris.
Ah. I bet he's playing with his didgeridoo.
He says Ryder gives a good account of himself.
Yeah, second that.
Sorry, mate. I cut you mid.
Yeah, it's okay. So basically, you got Benn. It looks like he's going to be out in June against Manny Pacquiao or Kell Brook. So I'll start with Andy on this one.
Yeah, I've listened to a Kell Brook interview today, and he's sounding very confident that it's going to be him he's fighting.
He needs it, don't he? Where is it?
Brook, he needs something to focus on.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, it's good for Kell Brook. Do I want to see Benn against Kell Brook? No, not really. Do I think Kell Brook's got enough left? No. The problem you've got is that Kell looked great against Amir Khan, and Amir Khan was a shell.
And also, Andy, does it sell? Does it sell abroad? It won't be happening in the UK.
It sells massive, just like the Kell again. Just like the Brook Khan fight sold.
Yeah, but that was in the UK.
Well, yeah, good point. Depending on where it's going to be.
That's what I mean. I'm not sure there's a desire for it in other territories.
Well, it's on. I mean, if they take it to the Middle East, which it probably will be. I mean, they'll only have like a 3,000 or 4,000 seat stadium anyway, so it won't really matter about the tickets. It's all about who subscribes and watches it that way through DAZN, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Manny Pacquiao's in the driving seat because of he's more well known globally. Is my thoughts. What do you think, Daz?
Mate, I'm disgusted by the situation. Right? For the simple fact, as soon as it came out, what had been caught in his system, I'm not going to name him, but I had 3 of my pals who they're all competing. Well, they were competing bodybuilders, and they basically got in touch with me and said he's been caught coming off a cycle. So I asked for a bit of explanation. They basically said clomiphene, whatever it is, I can't even pronounce it. Basically, that's taken by people who have been on a steroid cycle. When you come off a steroid cycle, clomiphene basically boosts your testosterone because it drops when you come off a steroid cycle.
Right.
That's why it's taken. And they said it's been caught basically coming off a steroid cycle. From a boxing point of view, I was gutted, mate, because I like Conor Benn. I was a big fan of Conor Benn. Big fan of his dad. But you've got to look at it like this. The opponents, was it Algieri? Was the other one Van Heerden? Chris Van Heerden?
Yeah.
Chris Van Heerden's been in with some good fighters and Algeria, and they've both said they've never been hit like that in their life. I mean, are they just coming out and saying that? Is this just an excuse because Conor legitimately blew through him? Who knows? But there's a cloud over him now. And what I don't like is the fact that he's come back, sort of thing, and he's calling out 2 retired fighters.
Yeah.
You know, listen, don't call out Manny Pacquiao, who's an absolute legend in the sport, who is, retired. He's got his eyes on other things. Don't call out Kell, who's retired, who's had some issues lately that he's dealing with. Listen, call out Jaron Ennis. Call out, call out Virgil Ortiz. Yeah, sorry. Call out Virgil
Not a
Ortiz.
difficult division, is it?
Do you know what I mean? Listen, call out Jaron Ennis. Get Jaron Ennis in there. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to see that. Do you know what I mean? Because juiced up or not, Jaron Ennis steamrollers him. And do you know what? I hate going against British fighters But do you know what? I see the game up close, as you guys do. It's a dangerous sport without somebody having an illegal physical advantage.
Yeah, you're right, mate.
It is. I tell you what. I mean, I'm a massive fan of his trainer as well, Tony Sims. I think he's a great trainer. And do you know what? You just makes you, this sort of thing makes you question everything. And it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, this. It really does. I just think, come on, if you've been caught doing it, put your hands up, take your punishment, and then get on with it. And I'll just, before I finish, I'll just do a little example. A fighter who I know, Liam Cameron, he won a Commonwealth, I think he won Commonwealth middleweight title. And Liam got found with a trace of cocaine in his system. Basically, it was admitted that the trace wouldn't even, if it was on a table, it would be naked to the human eye. And they basically said, it's probably come off a contaminated note that was taken in as ticket money. He got 4-year ban.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, it ended his career, mate. He were number 11 with IBF when he won Commonwealth title. And it's like 4-year ban for that, and then you've got this happening, and it's like, what's going off? I mean, what is happening is, if you've taken something to give you an edge, I mean, there's all sorts of questions. There's the fact that, is he that much in his dad's shadow? He resorted to the steroids because he wanted to live up to his dad. I mean,
did he need to take steroids to boost himself to make the weight to fight Eubank?
Well, the thing is, when he's fought Van Heerden and Algerian, he's blitzed them, basically. He's knocked Algerian spark out 1-8. He's gone through Van Heerden, I believe, hasn't he? Just went through him.
Yeah.
Now, before all that, he had life and death, didn't he, with, can't remember the guy's name when he got dropped.
Pinal, the French guy.
Yeah. We're getting dropped, and then suddenly he's a monster. I mean, It doesn't take Sherlock Holmes, does it? And you know what? I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed if that's the case, because he's put himself at risk and he's put opponents at risk. And it's like I say, it's hard enough as it is. It's a
just while we're on this subject, last week we talked about, I don't know if you've actually seen it, the interview that he did with Piers Morgan.
Oh, mate, do you know what? I didn't watch it. I basically got snippets from my mates on social media who have watched it, who have said, what he said and stuff like this. And I'm like,
PR disaster.
Yeah, I mean, listen, who's advising him to do that? Who's advised him to do that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, come on. I mean, listen, like I say, if you've been caught doing it, put your hands up and, and just take it on chin, and that's it.
Yeah, just before I bring Sean in, I'm just going to take some of these questions on the side, comments. So, Lee, good evening, Lee. Lee said Brook wouldn't be an easy fight for Ben. Joe's enjoying your comments, Daz. Joe says Liam got banned under the rule of strict liability. That's why Conor won't go and plead his case with the board. Rolf Harris, can't believe I'm saying that. I have some terrible steroid stories from personal experience in my old local gym. One dude took them that much, the tip of his finger fell off, and that was nandrolone. And then Lee, I will post a link now. Sean, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, in terms of the boxing question, I don't really think any other fights do anything for me. I mean, if it's not about going to the Middle East to fight Kell Brook, I can't see the Saudis queuing up to pay money for that fight. And I just think it's odd, really, him considering boxing when he's got all these questions over him. I mean, his interview we spoke about last week, and for me, he just dug himself a bigger hole. He said he could have accepted a ban. I mean, I think he should have, really, because the way he was talking, he was trying to blame it on so many people, and he's just shaking all responsibility. So the whole thing just stinks for me, and I think he should just stay quiet and let whoever's investigating it take their job and get to the bottom of it.
And the laughable thing for me, and again, this is my last comment, I'm bored of him, is he's got this 210-page dossier that is given to the WBC. It clearly doesn't.
270 call, apparently.
Sorry, I've missed a few pages.
Them 60 them 60 could be his innocence.
Well, we'll never know, Dad, will we? We'll never know. And I'd argue it probably don't make him innocent because he would have handed it over to the British Boxing Board of Control by now.
I would argue it's about as that 270-page document is about worth as much to the board and his innocence as my 270 sheets of toilet paper upstairs.
But you'd give it him, Dad, wouldn't you? If you spend that much money on it, like he
I would if it meant I were innocent, yeah.
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 The plot thickens. Let's move on to a more fresh article. So, Josh and Barack should join Boxer. Yeah, seems to be a bit of a trend at the minute. So we'll start with you on Daz on this one. Talk to us. What do you think the reasoning behind it is? Obviously, you're close to the game.
Apparently, he said that it's to do with fact of being out there. Sky, basically boxers on Sky. You don't have to download an app. You don't have to subscribe to an app. All this. But interesting thing is, I've seen it today. The Zone is like going to get its own Sky channel.
429. Channel 429 on
Sky. Yeah. I mean, he's coming away from Matchroom. The Zone. He's come away from. I believe I've heard he got offered £1 million for the Bivol fight, which, if I'm not sure that's true.
It is. No, it is. He said
he's come. He's obviously he's come away from some ready makeable big fights. I mean, they still should be makeable. Let's be right. Shouldn't matter who your promotional is. The best should fight the best. But. Yeah, it's an interesting move. I mean, would you have said he were top dog at Matchroom?
No.
For me, Daz, we spoke about this on the channel before. 3 years ago, Buatsi was the best thing since sliced bread, according to Eddie Earn.
Yeah.
Olympic bronze medalist. And it looked as though he was going to be the next golden boy.
Yeah.
Roll on a couple of years and he's not spoken about. No fights are getting made. If you speak to Eddie Earn or people around him, they're saying that Buatsi's always injured. Buatsi's done an interview at the press release yesterday saying, I was only ever injured for one fight, and that's the one I pulled out of. I was never injured other than that. I was ready to fight. They just never made me fights. He's also said that the £1 million was offered.
Yeah.
It was.
But there was a lot of added, what's the word I'm looking for?
Stipulations.
I.e., you must sign a new contract. You must fight this fighter next. You must fight that fighter next. So it wasn't a case of...
It would have been a 4-fight contract attached to it.
Yeah. So it wasn't a case of...
I mean...
Here's the one fight for £1 million.
Yeah, I mean, unless that contract was terrible... Unless that contract was shocking and there were unrealistic demands on him, is it that bad? Offering £1 million to fight Bivol.
Well, I don't know, mate. I mean, I've mentioned before that certain fighters just don't get looked after by DAZN, by Matchroom. I don't think the Smith family. I don't think the Smith brothers have ever been looked after properly. I still don't think Callum gets his. I know he's just signed a big deal to fight world champion, but I don't think in the past he's been looked after properly. Liam definitely wasn't.
Let's be fair on it as well. And I mean, it's not just Matchroom, but we've had the conversation regarding one of my fighters. They've signed somebody who to a deal, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
What have they done? And it might sound like a bit bitterness because I think my fighter far deserved a deal, above this person. I'll stand by it, and I hope the fight happens because it happened as amateurs, and my fighter came out on top fairly easy, and I'm fairly sure she would again. So we'll see. But yeah, I do think sometimes I think it's if your face fits. I think you've got to chat a lot of rubbish. And
I mean, let's have it right. Dalton Smith was very close to leaving the zone by all accounts, wasn't it? Very,
yeah,
very
I've heard
close.
that, mate. Yeah, I've heard that.
So there's obviously can they get these fighters out often enough? Is my question. I know they talk about having a global platform, don't they?
They don't put enough dates out, Cole.
No, I'd probably agree.
So the other thing that's interesting is that a couple of obviously the fighters that are left, Buatsi now, Okoli, Liam Smith, Chris Billam-Smith, and Natasha Jonas. They're the big fighters that have gone from the zone over to boxer. The interesting two for me are Okoli and Buatsi, and the reason is they not only left Matchroom, they've also left 258 management. Now, is there something in this where is there something in the deal where if you leave Matchroom Boxing, you can no longer be managed by 258? Seems a bit of a coincidence that they both left Matchroom and they both lose the 258 deal.
I've not heard that.
No, I haven't either. I'm just asking the question.
I'd be amazed if that was a stipulation, to be honest.
Seems a bit funny that both top fighters that have gone though, and they both left there at the same time.
Why did Okoli leave? I mean, I've heard money wise, but I don't exactly know. Have you guys heard anything?
Similar reasons to Buatsi, as far as I'm aware, does.
I don't think they wanted to pay Okoli as much as he thought he was worth, or as much as Boxer were prepared to pay him, because they've lost a lot of money on Okoli because he's not a ticket seller.
No.
I do agree with Joe in the sidebar where it says promoters don't push fighters who don't sell tickets. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, that's been the case for a while.
Is Buatsi a big ticket seller? Billam Smith.
I think he could have been. I think Buatsi could have been, but no, he's not.
They're pushing Billam Smith, aren't they, down in Bournemouth? I wonder what numbers he's doing down there. I wouldn't say it's massive.
I think he's got quite a big following, to be fair, from what I've heard.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, I think he is a big ticket seller.
Plus, they always put Joe Pickford on his cards as well. He's got a big following in Southampton, so that sells a lot of tickets in Bournemouth as well.
Well, what does Bournemouth hold? Where he's fought?
What's your definition?
No, it's only a few thousand, isn't it?
I was going to say, what's your definition?
The stadium, about 11.
What's your definition?
Maybe.
What's your definition of big
vitality? With the pitch as well, Andy. Don't forget.
Oh no, I was on. I think Carl's on about the arena, right, Carl?
Oh, the arena. I thought because this is going to be at the stadium, isn't it? Chris Billam-Smith is going to be at the Vitality Stadium.
I don't think he does 11,000.
I think he would. I think he would.
What does the arena hold? What's the arena hold?
It's not big.
About 4, is it?
3 or 4, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about 3.
I don't think he does another 7,000 on his own.
I think they'll probably stack that card with some big names to sell it out, I think.
Yeah. Sean, give us your thoughts before we bring Liam.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big loss to Matchroom, really. I mean, I think much of the same with Lawrence Okoli. They're sort of both fighters that don't really attract big followings or sell tickets, They both seem to think they're sort of worth more than they are from what I've seen and heard in interviews and whatnot. So, yeah, I don't think Matchroom will be losing any sleep over losing those two in particular, put it that way.
Yeah, I think I agree. Lee, what's your thoughts?
I'd disagree. I think they will be. I think Eddie Hearn's quite visibly annoyed about it because he's losing a lot of British fighters. Lerone Richards is another one who I thought was a good prospect.
Yep.
I think they made a mistake when he could have stuck with the zone internationally and kept on Sky with the British fighters, and been more frequent on Sky. And that seems that the British fighters haven't liked the move to the zone. That's quite obvious. I don't think they're as marketable on the zone. I don't think you got to remember with these fighters on Sky, they've got Sky Sports News that they flood with them. The promo's brilliant on Sky; it's second to none. And then all of a sudden, you're going over to an app that people aren't accessing. People aren't going to know who you are. Now, Buatsi's at a stage of his career where he needs to be known. I mean, you could blame Eddie Hearn last few years, but to be honest, Buatsi's probably just as guilty for not being out in the ring as anyone. But at the stage in his career, he needs to be active and he needs to have his name out there. And it's a big signing for boxer, I think.
The problem you've got is it's who you believe, Lee. So Buatsi's saying that he hasn't been injured, he's been ready to fight. He just hasn't been offered fights. Eddie Hearn's bound.
There's probably an element of truth. There's probably an element of truth on both sides, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't believe Eddie Hearn wouldn't fit Buatsi in the ring. Put it that way.
See,
I find that hard to believe.
I'm not convinced, Lee, and I'll tell you why. Because DAZN don't have enough dates, in my opinion, in the calendar in the UK. So they can only put so many fighters on a show. They're not going to stack it too much because it means they've got to pay too much money on the show and they won't make any money. So they're only going to put what they would see as one or two headliners on the show. And then the rest is made up by prospects.
I believe he could have fought on the AJ undercard, but he turned that down as well.
Correct.
Right, okay. So obviously it's a bit of both. I don't think DAZN are helping themselves by not having enough shows. They've got lots of... The problem is they've come away from Sky Sports with a massive roster. Sky Sports had a show on just about every weekend. So it wasn't a problem. But now, they're not putting shows on every other weekend like Sky do. Because he's concentrating on...
In fact, he hasn't got a British male champion anymore. That's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
But when you look at a couple of years ago, their stable of fighters was ridiculous, like second to none. Now it's diminishing British level. Obviously, they're a global force. There's no denying that. But in Britain, even though they are still a force, but they haven't got stable of fighters that they had.
What do you think about DAZN landing on Sky, Lee?
I can't believe that they've done that, and they've said that it's only accessible to new customers. So if you've signed up for a year as a loyal customer, you can't access it. So unless they address that, I think it's pretty poor.
It'll still pick some up though, won't it, for your AJ fights, blah blah blah.
That's what what you call killing your brand, mate.
Well, I don't think it's any coincidence that announcement's come a day after Buatsi said that he's not reachable on the channel. There's no way that's coincidence.
Daz, I'll come to you. So, in my honest opinion, I actually think that Matchroom are stuttering because of the fact that they're not on Sky. They don't have Sky Sports News as a platform to promote the fighters. Sky Sports as a whole to promote shows. And then you see things like the more recent Olympians signing with Boxer.
Yeah.
And not signing with Eddie Hearn, who you think they'd go to.
It's like you've said. I mean, it's more. I mean, how many people in the country have got Sky Sports? How many people in the country have got Sky?
Yep.
You know, to me, it's a no-brainer. If I was a fighter and I had a choice between getting signed by Matchroom or Boxer, I'd be choosing Boxer, mate. For simple
Definitely
fact.
the start of your career, right?
Yeah, without a doubt, because how many people are going to get to listen? Got to think as well? How many people, like I've said, have got Sky? How many people have got Sky Sports? How many people have got Sky Sports because it's on a free deal, 6 months, Do you know what I mean? Or something. It sounds crazy, but it's far more accessible, far more mainstream to me, and I think it's a good move from Boatse. If that's his reasons for it, he wants to be out there. He wants to be in more people's living rooms. It's a good choice.
I mean, my brother's not even into boxing. The amount of times he's gone on from watching Saturday tea time football straight into a fight night just because it's on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know people who do that. It's a choice between watching Ant and Deck Saturday Night Takeaway or two people smacking each other. They're going to watch two people smacking each other.
There's also the fact that if you are just a sports punter, you don't really follow boxing. I bet if you did a poll in a city centre on a Saturday afternoon, I bet less than half of the people you go to will have even heard of DAZN if they're not genuine boxing fans. They've got that to address, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it took you 6 months to learn how to say it, didn't it?
Mate, it did me. How do I say this?
So that's a starting point there, that, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think the thing is as well, what Lee pointed out is about obviously we be coming on the channel on Sky. If you've already signed up to this deal that they've done, you can't access it on Sky.
Massive own goal.
It's appalling, isn't it?
That's crazy. Absolute lunacy. Like you said, they've got somebody at DAZN's got to look at that and think, yeah, we need to sort that straight away.
That's mad.
I'd cancel my membership if that's me. If I was on, I'd be like,
well, do you know when they changed it all? Before it were announced about thingying, I didn't read into the small print, I'll be honest. But when they said it, like I only read it went from $7.99 to $19.99. I just went, do you know what? No.
It's 100. If you pay it up front, it's 100 quid for the year. Which I don't think that's too bad. 100 quid for the year. If you can then access it from Sky, I think that's really good. But
do you know what, mate? Do you know what? I probably will. Now I've cancelled it. I probably will access it on Sky for that. But this is another point as well. When I cancelled it, and then I read what you've just said, I thought, I can't be arsed downloading it again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's the problem you have. Whereas on your remote control for Sky Sports, 401, and it's on.
I'll tell you the mistake they've made. They thought they were being clever because nowadays everybody is streaming. So everyone's watching Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime. Everyone's tapping into all of that. And I think they thought that they were getting ahead of the market by doing that sports, but it's just not quite there for sports at the moment. You still got Premier League is on Sky Sports, which dominates this country's sport. Formula One.
Lee, my understanding is they've not even sorted the commercial side of DAZN out yet, have they, with pubs and clubs and such like as well?
No, that's a huge issue.
Audience.
That's a huge issue.
Yeah.
So Joe and Sidebar, just put this comment. I'm sorry, Sean. I'll give you 1 minute. Boatse needs to kick on now and be in some meaningful fights. His career has stagnated. Fully agree. Go on, Sean. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, their marketing's been terrible from the start. I mean, I know quite a lot about that.
Pay-per-view's dead, remember, Sean? Pay-per-view's dead.
Yeah. Well, the budget they launched with, their marketing was absolutely useless. I mean, if I had the pleasure to work for them, or displeasure, however you want to put it, they should have been advertising on TV, national TV. I mean, the rough price for an advert is about $100,000 for prime time in the UK. So they could easily have done that, and they just never pushed DAZN out really. I mean, you only know it if you knew boxing. They had all the radio they could have gone with to advertise DAZN, and they just never done it. So they've only got themselves to blame for the subscribers they've got. And
you'd think with having AJ, they'd do that now, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
John, with having AJ, you think they'd go down that road now because everyone knows who AJ is.
Well,
everybody, even if you don't like boxing.
They're talking about a partnership
Yeah.
with the BBC, aren't they, for terrestrial TV, maybe 24 hours later than the fight. Anything like that, just to get it out to some kind of mainstream.
Here's a little thing. And correct me if I'm a bit behind with it, but because obviously Sky, we've got Sky Sports F1, Sky Sports Cricket, Sky Sports Football. I'm a bit baffled why we haven't had Sky Sports Boxing.
Yeah, we haven't.
Do you know, listening to you guys just now, and then it's just come to me. I thought, well, we've got Sky Sports F1, we've got Sky Sports Football, Sky Sports Golf. I think we've got, haven't we?
Yeah.
Why have we not had? You know,
I don't know this, Daz. I don't know this. But I wonder if it's because the likes of Box Nation have failed and things like that. Whether they're reluctant to have a channel.
I mean, thing is, you know, like going to the Zone. I mean, this is just taking a punt, but if Eddie Hearn had have launched Sky Sports Boxing for an extra £12-15 a month, and you got one show, I don't know, 2 week, 3 week, you know, or one show a month, a good show, got a lot of decent content on it. I mean, it probably could have been something to look at if other sports have done it, but. You know, we'll never know, will we? I suppose.
You know what? For me, lads, it stinks of arrogance from Eddie Hearn that he thought, and his own probably thought this as well. They thought that he'd walk away from Sky and he'd take all of those Sky viewers with him.
Yeah, and
that never happened.
No, he's not.
Yeah. I mean, it's not too different to when Eddie Hearn won the Sky contract independently and started taking people from Frank Warren and it is very similar. So it's not like it's not been done before.
Yeah.
Can I just say to Joe as well? He's probably right with that as well. Numbers might not be there for a standalone boxing channel. He's probably right, but.
Well, Box Nation was okay while it was lumped in with BT's sport package, but then once it became a standalone subscription model, Frank Warren cut his ties and it was losing money. So
they showed a lot of small all shows, didn't they?
But in the early days, it had a lot of American shows on, didn't it? Some big names. Yeah,
it did. Yeah. I mean, thing is, numbers might not be there, but. You know, you're never going to know now. If they'd have tried it, could have been a success. But it also could have failed. Who knows?
Right, let's move on to the next topic then. Another one that will no doubt spark debate. So Tyson Fury, we've seen it all plastered over social media. 70-30 split. Usyk's agreed as long as £1 million gets paid to his Ukrainian fund. So we've been doing a round robin of who goes first. So Lee, we'll let you kick off on this one. Give us your thoughts.
I don't know where to begin. It looks like it's done now, doesn't it? It very much looks like it's done. Barring a pull-out of a fighter, which with this short notice before the fight going into camp, I wouldn't be surprised.
Could be worth a bet, Lee, with bookies.
Yeah, I think.
What is
I think Fury's
6 weeks, 5 weeks.
I think that's a very short camp for an undisputed fight, in my opinion. But
someone's going to get this land.
Lee, don't be fooled, mate. Lee, don't be fooled. These have been in camp for weeks and weeks. Weeks.
Oh yeah, of course they have. But you know what I mean. It's they're stepping it up. I don't know, but anyway, I don't know whether Fury was angling out of it or whether he's just played an absolute blinder and got the split he wanted. I respect Usyk because I think he's been like, you know what, I just want to get it on. I just want to become undisputed. I think Usyk cares more about undisputed than he does money. I think Fury cares more about money than he does undisputed. But I just want to see the fight happen, and I'm hoping that we're near an announcement. I mean, it's got to be. If it's happening, it's got to be announced this weekend. It has to be, surely. So,
the thing that slightly annoys me, Lee, I listen to Talk Sport a lot, and they do a really good on a Thursday. They do a really good boxing segment on the midday show. Simon Jordan's great. speaks his mind. As you know, Simon Jordan is all over a lot of sports, but he's heavily into boxing at the minute. Rumours are he's actually going to come into boxing.
I've had that as well.
Anyway, back to my point. So, TalkSport have always been really big fans of Tyson Fury. They've always backed him with everything he's done in recent years. They make one comment on the show last week. Oh, it wasn't even last week, was it? End of last week, I think. They made one comment on the show that they thought Tyson Fury was trying to duck the fight a little bit. Well, Simon Jordan said this. But Tyson Fury was trying to duck the fight because he wouldn't take the 50-50, he wouldn't take the 60-40. It was a take it or leave it 70-30. And then he says, oh, but don't bother putting a rematch clause in as well. So they basically said, look, we think you're ducking the fight. Tyson Fury then loses the plot. I don't know if you've seen the video.
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
he's on a treadmill, effing and blinding at Simon Jordan because he dare say anything against him.
It's because everybody is starting to see through his bullshit for once. I think Fury has pulled the wool over so many people's eyes over the years. Look, don't get me wrong, fantastic fighter, best heavyweight out there. He really is. I think he wins the Usyk fight, but he does talk a lot of nonsense. He is a hypocrite. He says one thing, then he does another. 1 minute he's going to fight for free. The next minute it's going to be free to air on TV and tickets. You just can't believe a word he says because he just speaks as his backside guides in. And sooner or later, that's going to catch up with you. You can't just... AJ, if this was AJ, he would have been crucified. Absolutely crucified if these negotiations had happened between AJ and Usyk rather than Fury and Usyk. Without a doubt. He gets away with it, and it's starting to crack, and people are starting to see through it a little bit. That's my opinion, anyway.
Cheers, Lee. Sean?
Yeah, I agree with what Lee just said there, really. I mean, I think the fight happens. I'm a bit sceptical if it is in April the 29th. I'm not too sure about that. But, yeah, I just don't think Fury's endearing himself to many people at the moment with all that he's coming out with. I think Usyk's called his bluff a little bit, where he's just caved into all of his demands, and I think we're going to see now with Fury in the next couple of weeks. I would have thought if he's really serious about this fight, or if he's just wanting to create attention for his social media or whatever he tends to do with that.
Daz?
I'm a massive fan of Tyson Fury, the fighter, but Tyson Fury, the person at the minute, is not covering himself in glory. But what I will do is I'll take my hat off to Usyk because I think he could have stood his ground, and I think he's worth more than 30%. Way more than 30% is worth, to be fair.
Totally agree.
Why is he not worth 50?
I totally agree with that as well.
Why is he not worth,
But he's an insult, isn't it? When you carry 3 of the 4 bouts, he's an insult.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I get the argument that Tyson's the draw. I get that. But I mean, come on, from a boxing point of view, what more does Usyk have to do?
The thing is, you say about Fury being a bigger draw. Yes, he is. But is that fight a big draw unless it's an undisputed fight? No, I don't think it is.
No, of course it's
and
not.
In order for it to be an undisputed fight, you can't just go in there with Tyson's 1 WBC belt. You need the other 3 belts which Usyk holds. So fair enough, maybe a bigger split, but not.
Yeah,
I mean, I
think 60-40 feels about right to me.
I agree. I agree with that.
To be honest, guys, we're having this conversation like this fight's happening. If it wasn't down to Usyk agreeing to take this pitiful 30%, it wasn't happening.
That's what I'm saying. You got to
exactly.
You've got to take your hat off to him and say, listen, he wants to fight. He wants to go down in history as undisputed. I do think Tyson Fury, the fighter, will be too much for him. I think he'll be too big, too intelligent as well. He's a very intelligent fighter, Fury. But I think Usyk's, there's going to be a lot of people who did want Fury to win in the first place. now I think I'll be thinking, I'd love this Usyk geezer to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Agree.
mean? I think
Yeah.
some things will have shifted, and
I mean, another thing I don't really understand is when Tyson Fury fought Klitschko, he was on the bum side of the deal, so you thought he
Yeah.
might have had a bit more respect when it comes to Usyk, point one.
especially with the fact Usyk holds the three
Yeah.
other belts.
And,
He's
but
not-
point two, that 30% we talk about, although I don't agree with the percentage, it's still a lot more money than Usyk's going to earn fighting anywhere else.
Yeah,
So
but
there is that as
It
well.
is, but that don't make it right, Cole.
Did
No,
say, did
why
I?
not?
If you listen to my earlier point, I did say I'm not saying I agree with the percentages.
Yeah.
However, he is earning more money than he would by going to fight a
Yeah.
Daniel Dubois.
yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, neither of them can be undisputed without the other one.
No.
So,
Exactly.
so really, in an ideal world, and I'm living in boxing dreamland here, I know that. Why not? Listen, 50-50. Take 2.5 million off each purse, send 5 million to Ukraine.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Or
And have a
even,
bonus on the winner.
Yeah.
I was about
Yeah.
to say, or even the deal that Usyk's camp went back
Yeah,
with,
yeah.
which was, we'll make it 60-40, but the 60 goes to the winner of the fight.
Yeah. Yeah, that could have been.
But, you know, if Tyson Fury really believes in himself,
Did-
why
did-
not take that deal?
Did you hear the excuses for that, though?
No.
There are a couple of boxing who are considered to be knowledgeable boxing people said, no, I wouldn't have ever done that because what if you get a bad decision?
Yeah, or get cut or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that, but
I
you could
understand
put
it.
stuff like that in the contract, couldn't you?
Yeah, I understand it, but yeah, exactly. You could deal with that, you know, pre-fight. You could say, listen, maybe not the bad decision because it's subjective, but listen, if we get a cut, you know, something like that or an injury, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
we stick to original thing. So there's a lot of things that you can iron out pre-fight, but I think Usyk's the one coming out with a massive amount of credit in this with this.
Yeah,
Really
absolutely.
do.
Tyson's done a really good job in the last, I don't know, 4 years of getting the British public on side. Because prior to that, you know, when he made kind of a few comments that didn't sit very well, he wasn't in favour, was he?
Yeah.
You know,
Do you know what, mate? Do you know what? Right, sorry to jump in, but
you're right.
I know there's a lot of people who are jumping on Twitter and saying that, I knew he were I knew he were lying about mental health card. I knew he were,
Oh no.
you know, I knew he were lying and just using it. I know people who have been close to people who have been close to him, who have been close to him, you know, and people who have directly been close to him. That mental health thing that he used to say was not used for that.
No,
lad
I don't think he was
that,
either.
No, it weren't. That lad went through it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
The point I'm making is he's in the last however many years since he's battled through that, got back in the ring. His persona within the public has risen really, really high, and you could say is more like than Joshua right now.
Yeah, probably.
Is he in danger
Well,
though with the antics he's using at the minute? Is he in
Flipping it
danger
back.
of losing that public?
Yeah, some of it. I think he's lost some already.
Sad then, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't think
Because
he
there's no
cares.
need for it.
yeah.
I don't think he particularly cares, to be honest.
No, mate, he don't. He's not fussed, is there?
I'll tell you the heavyweight everybody can get behind at the moment, which I think they are. Joe Joyce. I think he keeps his mouth shut, does his job. He's quite likable, comes across well in interviews.
Don't duck anybody.
No. Can you remember when he
doesn't duck
first?
anybody.
Can you remember when he first come on? When he first turned pro, and he was sat in interviews, and it were like trying to get blood out of stone to get words out of him. But do you know what? It's like I'm not going to talk shit for the sake of it.
Yeah.
And then everyone criticised his boxing style until they've been in with him.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, he. Listen, you can't argue with it. I do think Joe Joyce is going to get old overnight. I do think he's going
He's got
get
to at some point, hasn't he?
Yeah, but
he's got to hit a brick wall.
But he might not. He might. You know, he might retire by then.
I think he
Yeah,
will.
maybe.
Smash and grab job for me.
He
Does
might
this?
retire by then. But I mean, the man is. I mean, how can you not like him? How can you not like Joe Joyce? You know, I'm I'm a big Tyson Fury fan, like I say, as a fighter. But if them two fought, you know, I may be Team Joyce for a little bit. You know,
He gives
I
Fury
would be.
nightmares, in my
100%. I
opinion.
would be.
he's ever, you know, he's such a. It seems like such a genuine, nice man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's it for Tyson. Let's move on to the next topic. So WBC have ordered Better Behave versus Callum Smith. So as a round robin's going round, start with Andy on this one. Andy, give us your thoughts on this one.
I can't wait for this, mate. I can't wait for this. Better Behave, in my opinion, has got a bit more left than I thought he had. Yard was very, very tough in that fight. And at his moments, by the way, Better Behave got caught a lot and showed he got a really good chin. So I was of the opinion Better Behave was on the slide. And I still think he's a little bit because he's getting caught a lot more than he used to. But he's tough as nails. Tough as nails. I really, really can't wait for this. I do think Smith carries more ring craft than Yard.
Better
and I think
finisher.
he has a much better chance.
Better finisher
Yeah.
than Yard.
Yeah, I think he has a much better chance than Yard did. And I think he'll have a better success than Yard in the fight as well. But it's a brilliant fight, this. Oh, mate. I'm gonna tip Smith as well. I think he's a monster at this weight, mate. That's my bit.
Could be a genius piece of matchmaking, this.
Timing, all about the timing.
Could be a genius piece of matchmaking. Callum Smith's very good at range. He's got horrible power at range as well. Horrible power. So could cut Beterbiev up, could, make a mess of his face. But at the same time, Beterbiev could get inside and, do damage himself. Very, very bit. I think it could be a genius piece of matchmaking in Callum Smith's favour, this. Callum Smith could look, very good. Very, very good.
What's your prediction, Daz?
Can't I sit on fence with this?
No, we don't do splinters.
I think Callum Smith, mate. I think Callum Smith will win. I think he'll win. I think he could win by 10th, 11th round stoppage, maybe.
Sean?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as we know in boxing, sometimes it's about catching the fighter at the right time, and I think this is the case for Callum Smith. He's had it the hard way in a certain extent where he hasn't had the big following necessarily he deserves, and I think this puts him right on the big pedestal at the top of the light heavyweight division, and I agree. I think he stops him.
Lee?
Tough. I think it's a hard one to call. I would probably edge Callum Smith. Yeah, I'd probably edge Callum Smith, but it's a very tough one to call because Beterbiev hits very hard, doesn't he? But I think Callum Smith's more durable.
Let's not have an Andy answer. Let's not have an Andy answer. Just give
us I said I think Callum Smith. I just did.
No, you ain't giving a prediction, have you? Come on, tell us how it happens.
Smith late.
Well, I won't push you no more because obviously you're on that fence. So I reckon Callum Smith's going to beat Beterbiev.
On the fence.
Well, you are, aren't you? We like rounds on this show, but I won't push you no more.
All right, round 11 then, if it makes you happy.
Right, okay, round 11.
Stop crying.
I'm going a bit earlier than that. I'm going round 8, Callum Smith. I think Callum Smith will keep it range, and I think he'll end up not busting Beterbiev up, but he won't take no risk. You can't let Beterbiev get on the inside, can you? So I think he's a good enough boxer to keep him at range and break him up. That's my view. Moving on to the last topic of the night. Andy will enjoy this one. Katie Taylor versus Chantelle Cameron. So it seems we've been round robbing all night. We'll come back to Sean. Sean, give us your thoughts on this great fight.
Yeah, really pleased it's going ahead after the Serrano pullout, and I think it's probably a better fight, if I'm being honest, rather than anything else. I think as a whole, the card's shaping up really nicely, actually. And I think in terms of this fight, I just think Katie Taylor's going to win purely because I don't think she wants to be denied. She's got a homecoming fight. It's in Ireland. Most of the people will be there for her. And I think she'll edge out Cameron on points.
That's what I like to see, Lee. A definitive answer. Take note of that, Lee. So we'll move on to Andy next. Let's see if Andy can.
I've got to jump off anyway, guys. But
all right,
predictions,
Lee. Let's see if you can give a quick prediction then before you jump off. Party training.
Chantelle Cameron on points.
Right. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too.
Andy.
I think Katie Taylor is making a really big mistake. I think Chantelle Cameron, I've been saying this for a number of years, Carl, you'll back me up.
Yep.
I think Chantelle Cameron is the best female fighter in Britain.
Whoa, hang on. Whoa, hang on. Come on now.
All right, maybe apart from one. But yeah, it's by far, in my opinion, as well. I think her skill level is excellent. She's got a brilliant coach in Jamie Moore. They think exactly the same. He hardly says anything. He hardly has to say anything. He's a great coach. They do all the work prior to the night. They don't have to worry about it on the night. He just looks at it and he'll go, all right? And he'll know from a response exactly what the situation is. I think Katie Taylor is in a world of pain in this fight, I'll be quite honest. I think she's been on the slide for a little while. She gets hit way more now than she ever has. She's slowed down. I think she's ideal for Cameron's style. I really do.
Andy, did she do anything well anymore? Jesus.
No. It's just my opinion, mate. She beats Katie Taylor. Still beats almost everybody else, but Chantelle Cameron, I believe, is levels. I really do. She hasn't had the chance to prove it. This is a defining night to shine.
Coming out night.
Is this for a prediction then? She stops Katie Taylor.
Ooh.
When?
Round. It'll be late. I'll go round 10.
Daz?
I've been saying for 2 or 3 years, Chantelle Cameron beats Katie Taylor. I've been saying it like Andy. Nicola will tell you. If you talk to Nick, she'll tell you. I've been saying it for a long time. Chantelle Cameron beats Katie Taylor. But I'm also going to throw in, I think Sandy Ryan beats them both.
No.
Really?
Yeah. Not yet. She done. But another year or two, I think Sandy Ryan beats both.
I'll have a pint on that, we are.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Sandy Ryan. Big fan.
I like Sandy Ryan as well.
Big fan. She's now, I know she had that blip, but she puts her punches together so well, head and body. Do you know what I mean? And I think I think she wins this fight. She's got coming up. Her confidence is going to go through the roof, and I think she's a confidence fighter as well.
Yeah.
While she's confident, but let's say whoever's right or wrong, what a massive fight that's going to be down the line. You know what I mean? Whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know. But I like look at Sandy Ryan. I have done for a long time. I do think Chantelle Cameron will outpoint Katie Taylor. And I hope that if she outpoints her, she gets the decision.
That's the problem, isn't it?
I hope it's not, one of them where it's a dodgy decision or a dodgy draw, and then Katie Taylor thinks, you know what, I'm done. I've got no left. I'm retiring. But no, I do think, and I want to echo that as well, what you just said about Jamie Moore.
Brilliant.
Yeah, see, that's my belief as well as a trainer. That's what I do. It's what I believe in, that all the talking and all the coaching is done in camp.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So fight night, basically, and I do this. I'm not saying I'm in Jamie Moore's league as a trainer. Don't for 1 minute take it like that. But I'm saying that the more you get things across in camp, the easier it is on fight night to just do what we've worked on.
You are very calm in the corner though, Daz, aren't you? So you can tell the work's been done because sometimes there's very little said, is there?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, mate, I know that my job's done when Nicola comes back to corner and I say, just go and do the same as what you've just done.
Yeah.
That's it. If there's little things that I see, last fight, I think she only did it once or twice. She just got a little bit involved, left her head there after she threw. She come back. I just said to her, listen, don't admire your work, step off, slip off, hands high, do something after your work. Don't admire it. Do you know what I mean? And that's it. Yeah, if you do all your work in camp and that, at the end of the day, mate, if I'm in corner and I'm sure Jamie Moore says the same, if you're in corner panicking, your fighter's going to panic.
Yeah. Just coming back to Chantelle Cameron, I think she knows she's going to have to stop her or knock her out in Ireland to get the win. So I think they're going to go in there to stick down the punches. And Cameron's well capable of doing it.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to go in there with a game plan to stop her, stroke knock her out.
And let's not forget, guys, Katie Taylor's moving up to take this fight.
Yeah.
That's a big factor.
And she's going to bang a lot harder than Serrano did.
I think that had played to Taylor. If she stood with Taylor, because I think she can outbox her.
Taylor would outbox her by throwing the more volume, but I don't think. I think she gets it too much nowadays. Does
you think she
used to
wear her down sort of
and
thing?
she can bang.
She used to let her shots go. I was always really impressed with Taylor because she used to let her shots go and then get back out of range.
Yeah,
she don't do that anymore.
No, she stays. She's. I get what you're saying. She's more static. See, if I were training Cameron, I'd say you work everything off your jab. Everything off your jab, right hand, finish on your left hook, and then you take half a step away.
Yeah.
And then if she comes at you, walk her onto something.
Yeah.
Whereas if she stands with her and they're throwing with each other, what if Katie Taylor doesn't tire? What if Katie Taylor doesn't wear down?
Yeah.
Then it's like your judges have then got a thing saying they've stood toe to toe, and it's what you like, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why Chantelle Cameron in this fight has got the physical tools to keep her on end of her jab, to pop away a right hand left hook, and she takes that half a step out and to right, she can walk her onto things. She can go. Katie Taylor can block parry, but then she's going to walk onto something. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think if Cameron stands with her and takes a chance on she's going to tire and she doesn't, I think it could backfire on judges' cards that if that happens.
Good point.
So I'm just going to pick some comments up on this side. Joe said Fury's played an absolute blind. I got Krasik and Usyk to take 30%, plus he's got Usyk doing vids in English. All this called his bluff nonsense. He says Usyk, he couldn't have stood his ground or he'd be fighting Dubois. He also says Usyk got 800,000 to Bellew's 4 million when he was undisputed cruiserweight champ. You're only worth what you can get. And he also quite a few comments from Joe. Does Callum Smith really deserve a shot? What's he done at light ever?
Oh, come on.
He thinks Cameron. He thinks Chantelle Cameron KOs Katie Taylor.
I think he's a bit harsh on Callum Smith. But
very harsh on Callum Smith.
Yeah, I think he's a bit
good
harsh.
point about who's only getting 800,000 though when Bellew got 4 mil.
Do you know why? Do you know why that was though?
Is that true?
That was the only way Bellew was going to take that fight is if he got paid a shed load of money because he knew the danger he was in that fight.
Was Bellew a WBC champion, weren't he? Did Bellew had the WBC title for that fight, didn't he? Yeah, right.
He's probably drawing parallels with Fury Inter at the minute.
Yeah. I just looked at it and thought, well, Bellew got 4 million, Usyk 800,000. But then I remembered Bellew did have the WBC title.
Also, as well, you got to remember that Usyk wasn't a massive name in the UK then.
No.
So you know, maybe he's not daft and his management aren't daft. Maybe they take that just to get the name out there.
Listen, if that's the case and that's happened, I take my hat off to Tony Bellew. Genius.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
He was undisputed though, wasn't he? Usyk at the time because he had just won the Muhammad Ali trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Super Series.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're right.
Yeah. So
This was
genius.
after
WBC
Bellew being
champ, wasn't it?
titleized, wasn't it?
Yeah, genius bit of management and that, really. If they've got that deal through.
I'm sure if Bellew wasn't getting paid that sort of money for it, he wouldn't have took that fight though. That was his.
I mean,
that,
let's
that,
have it
that was
right.
his
If we was all Tyson Fury's manager, we would be happy with 70-30. That's not the point we're making, is it? The point we're making is that we think it should be more 60-40 because of what Usyk brings to the table.
Yeah,
you can't blame Fury's management team, can you?
No.
Yeah, they're going to get what they can get, aren't they?
They're there to do a job. They're there to get Tyson the best deal.
The bigger their the bigger the purse goes, the more percentage goes to them, the more that goes in their pockets. Let's have it right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. That's their job.
I agree with something Lee said earlier on as well. I never said it at the time. He said that Usyk's priority was to become undisputed and money was secondary, and Tyson's priority was money and undisputed was secondary, and I think that's right.
Yeah, I agree with that, to be fair.
So Joe says, in my opinion, you've got to throw with Taylor. Both Possoon and Serrano had her in trouble fighting that way. Good point.
Yeah, good point that, Joe. But you don't have to stand still to throw with her. You don't have to stand in front of her to throw with her.
You don't need to be in the pocket, do you?
No. Chantelle Cameron can throw with her and then half a step out and then throw against her. It's, if you're going to stand with your feet planted against Katie Taylor and, you're giving her something that Chantelle Cameron doing that is giving up advantages for me.
Yeah, I hear you, Daz. I think you're right as well. What I will say to counter that, though, what I will say is, Serrano doesn't hit anywhere near as hard as Chantelle Cameron.
No,
and she had Katie Taylor in trouble at one point in that fight.
Yeah,
you better hope Katie Taylor can outbox Cameron. If she can't, she's in big trouble.
What if though? What if Cameron's got a power advantage? So what if Cameron stands in front of her, throws with her, gets caught with a couple of slashing shots, and gets caught?
Yeah.
Right. Now, for me, with the advantages she's got, she should be out there slamming that jab out.
Keep it at range.
Right hand left up, step off, but step off in a way where she knows Katie Taylor's going to come.
Yeah.
So then walk her onto something big. Listen, it's all right being powerful and having a massive punch, but if that's all you've got, they're going to read it. Someone like Katie Taylor will read it.
I'll tell you what it's crying out for, Daz. My favourite shot, the uppercut. That could be Cameron's punch to throw that night. That uppercut beautiful.
Yeah, Katie Taylor's, she likes to roll a little bit, doesn't she? She's, Katie Taylor's, still very good and she deserves all respect she gets. But
of course,
Chantelle Cameron, to me, she can make this fight easier for herself if she uses her attributes.
Yeah.
And like that with power, I'd much rather listen. Katie Taylor's tough. I'd much rather my fighter hit Katie Taylor with a shot she doesn't see than a shot she does see.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. I mean, why not just poke your jab out, step off to the side, right hand, left up, rather than stand in front of her, grunt, right hand, left up that she's going to see coming. I just think Chantelle's got advantages in this fight and she needs to use them.
I agree. Certainly the way the fight's been made up.
Jamie Moore will be all over it, won't he, Daz? He'll be all over
it. Mate, yeah. He'll know what he's doing. He'll devise a plan. No danger.
So I'm going to bring the show to an end. Just before I do, Sean, is there anything you want to bring up before we close?
No.
Okay. Daz, anything you want to bring up? Any topic before we close?
No, mate. No.
No.
No, I think everything's been covered.
Fair enough. And anything you want to bring up before we close?
Yeah, just a thank you to everyone in the sidebar. Thanks to Daz and Sean again. You're becoming regulars on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Sean's been a regular for about a year and a half. But Daz is becoming regular, which is great because it's getting a different perspective. And also thank you to Lee for joining us. Thanks to everyone in the sidebar. Great comments again tonight.
Well, Andy's closed the show for me on my behalf, so all I have to say is Last Bell Boxing live every Thursday, 7 p.m. Come and get involved. See you next week. Cheers, guys.
See you guys.